Okay, getting moving now. It's getting later at night, and we're 11:20 or close to it, and it's cold. I mean, we're down around 21 at 22 degrees in GR. Probably going to get down to maybe the upper teens here. Now, it would seem like that would be obvious, but there are some patches of clouds around that we got to contend with. But I think we're probably going to get down to, say, 19 by daybreak tomorrow morning. That's nothing compared to Big Rapids, though. I think Big Rapids is probably dropping to, say, 9 degrees. And why would that be? Well, because you got a little bit of a snowpack down now. And obviously, Big Rapids more of an outlined location, so the readings, they can plummet. We've got light winds, we've got clear skies, we've got a dry air mass. A lot of this cooling is more so, well, maybe not more so, but in large part due to radiational cooling. We've got a fairly cold atmosphere in place at this point, but pretty typical for December standards. So obviously some of the coolest air we've had of the season, the cold season, you know, but it feels even colder because we haven't been very chilly. I mean, we've had a well above normal November and early December. 30 degrees I'm going to go with for a daytime high tomorrow. I am anticipating a little bit of radiation working through these high level clouds. I would say especially late morning and early afternoon, probably more in the way of these high and mid-level clouds obscuring sun at the start and then probably later in the day as well. I don't think a firm overcast, but certainly there will be a fair amount of these high-level clouds around. Not a blue sky, that's for certain, but perhaps thin enough to allow for a little bit of sun. A jump up slightly Wednesday and Thursday. I mean, not a whole lot. It's going to feel pretty similar Wednesday and Thursday to what it does tomorrow. Luckily, though, the winds are light on Tuesday, so wind chill's not a factor. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday gaining a little bit of momentum. We're in the upper 30s at that time, and here's the look for week 2 of the forecast. The deeper the reds and oranges on the chart, that's where the expectation is for the temperatures to be running further above their normals. So that's where the departures from average will be the greatest according to the latest runs of the models. But certainly from the coast to coast, you're not really anticipating any big discharges of Arctic air out of Canada with a look like that on the week 2 forecast. Now, this is for the next several days, and you see a little dusting. This thing tends to overdo the light snow, so I really am not anticipating any accumulation in Grand Rapids through the time code Wednesday at 6 p.m. But look at this. I mean, this is a monstrous bullseye of many inches of snow. You go to the coding, and that shows about 12 to 18 inches. That's what I've been talking about the last several days. A distinct possibility through Pennsylvania. They're calling for 8 to 14 inches in New York City, downtown. A lot of times they get that warm influence off of the waters, and perhaps there may be a little mixing going on at times during the warmest part of the storm, but I think several inches for those folks, perhaps even more than several inches in New York City. A lot of cold air that this storm is going to be tapping, but it's riding down to our south. You can see the reservoir of air in Canada a lot colder than it was about 7 to 10 days ago. So now we're starting to see minus 20 to minus 30 degree temperatures. But again, going out the long term, I don't see any major launches of cold air southward into the lower 48. It's going to be sticking around for any great length of time. Feels like temperatures not much of a factor at this point because the winds have died down, and I think that'll be the story tomorrow morning. So here's what it feels like depending upon where you're at. You get a little breeze, feels like the teens. Otherwise, it's not much. Live radar, we're scanning around any of the flurries we had early today, which amounted to nothing. Those are over with. See some clouds out through the central plains. Those are in association with this big mammoth storm that's going to be coming about here on the East Coast. So watch the model as it goes forth. Paints these high-level clouds around tomorrow. Perhaps a little bit of radiation working on through. As we get into Wednesday, the northern fringes of that system down to the south could throw down a few flurries, mainly southeast of GR. Don't be surprised if you see a few here as well. But again, the main snow band, which will be very significant, is way, way off to our east. Forecast actually starts to get a little milder, Derek. Take a look at this. Upper 30s to near 40, maybe a flake or a raindrop over the weekend.
We are hanging on to the warmth. Thank you, Anthony. A family in North Carolina